All righty, ladies, gentlemen, the fellas. I see some people up in here early. What's going on? What's popping? We're here right now to talk about the big game. Smack you with some knowledge, some info as best as we can. All right, we've been doing this all week long. I just want this motherfucking game to start already. So now we're just gonna have some fun. We're gonna kick back, hangout style. I think that's what I titled it. Super Bowl. We're just gonna talk betting. Mainly, I mean, you got the spread, you got the total. It's gonna be like as airtight as possible now, like hours before the game. So we're going to kind of focus on some of the novelty props, more props opening up with other sports going on. You can have the tandem with the NBA since we got those lines now, and just prop bets in general. So we'll focus around there. I brought on some of the fellas, the original fellas from back home. So we'll get them in a second. And we're gonna talk chop. We're gonna chop up the big game. We'll take questions. We'll feed off of the chat for a lot of it. So what's going on? Hit the like, subscribe, do all those things. But yeah, we'll feed off of you guys. I see there's a lot of people already up in here. I mean, I guess people are just looking. I don't know what the fuck you people are doing on your Tuesday or your Sunday at 2 p.m. But yeah, I appreciate you hanging here. Any questions you got? Any questions you have on like a prop that you have? Let us know. We'll bounce it back and forth, and we'll be sure to give you probably losing advice, but you'll have fun with it. So, alrighty, I'm going to start this off. Just general takes, I guess you can say. All these fellas are from my hometown. They're making their debuts on the YouTube channel. Hope to see them in the future. But I'll kick it to Justin for how you doing? How's your day going? What's your Super Bowl plans to start off? What's your Super Bowl plans in the COVID environment, and how's your day going?
All right, I'm doing well. Day's been waiting for the game. Super Bowl plans. I'm watching with my parents. I have a little procedure I got to do tomorrow, so I can't eat, can't drink anything. So that's my day.
Yeah, I'm gonna put them on blast. I don't care. Yeah, so colonoscopy coming tomorrow.
I'm getting colonoscopy tomorrow, so I can't eat, can't drink. I'm gonna be shitting throughout the whole game, but we'll be there.
At the very young age of 24 years old, setting the world's youngest colonoscopy record. Justin Hartman on the stream, man. The bravery out of this guy to hop on the stream right now after this. Yeah, we got some people in here. Somebody said ready for the motherfucking game. Yeah, Jared. I think we're ready for the motherfucking game. So that's Justin. We'll get his take on the game in a second. We're gonna kick it to Buddy Lewis, the son of Deb and Bill Lewis, if they're out there right now watching. Big proud moment here, buddy. How you doing? Where you tuning in from? And what are you doing on your Super Bowl Sunday?
Well, I can eat and I can drink, so a lot of that. That's about the only solid plan I have. I'm in Scranton at school, so we'll see. Might break some protocols, might not. We'll see how the night goes.
I think that's fair. We got some people looking out for Justin. Worst week to get a colonoscopy. I really don't know what that means, but yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know when the best week is to get it, but yeah, not the best time for Justin. Cam Dean below me right now. Where you tuning in from? What are you doing today, big sir?
Right, tuning in from sunny South Florida, pretty close, other side of the state from Tampa. It was a little forecasted rain, but looking out my window right now, hopefully clear skies for a good game tonight. Just have some friends over. I can drink again, so I will be indulging in that and hopefully make some money.
I like that. Yeah, Danny P says, fellas, that's exactly what's going on right now. So all the people up in the chat, how you doing? Yeah, so let's start this off with just general takes on the game. We don't got to like break down the game matchup-wise. I'm sure like every single TV coverage spot has done that to this point. And something that really does lack, like overall, just anywhere on TV is people like the PGA tried it last week. Wasn't great. This week, it's been god awful, like a betting show. It's better than nothing, but people, they want advice on betting. They don't give a shit about Tyreek Hill's matchup. To an extent, they might if they're playing fantasy, but they don't give a shit about that compared to the prop bets that they're looking for. So we can talk through some of that, but just general stances. I can kick it back to Cameron. Just general stances on the game in general. Did you bet? I didn't bet the spread or the total at all. I'm just really sticking to props. Did you bet any of those? If you did, or you have a lean, I guess just why, like your quick pick on that, on the game in general.
Didn't, because I don't want to have a vested rooting interest in a specific team. I just want to cheer for some players, hopefully make some money and have a good game. It's like pretty much a cardinal sin to bet against Tom Brady in a Super Bowl, I'd say. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to bet on him, but if I had to gun to my head, I would take the Bucs.
Alrighty. Yeah. I think I lean Kansas City. So I guess I didn't bet the spread, but I bet an alternative just because of the plus money. I took Chiefs by 7-12 at plus 425. I have no conviction on that outside of you can take it the opposite side. It was like plus 500, I think, for the Bucs on that way, or plus 550. But I just figured if I'm going to bet a side of it, the real line is just so airtight at this point. Like it's barely moved by a half a point. Everybody and the mother, the brother, the sister, the aunt, and the uncle has bet the line at this point. So like you might as well just stick to something else. All right. Justin Hartman, quick pick on the game in general, and then we'll kind of break down into this. Anything that stands out, anything that you've been seeing from, I think somebody said right now, is he sitting on a toilet? Anything that you've been seeing from your toilet bowl that you're sitting on right now, that you've got an edge over anybody else right now, that you think, yeah, you know what, lock in the mortgage, lock in the kid's tuition right now, lock in the kid himself on one side of this game?
All right, so I did bet the game. It's Super Bowl. You got to bet the game.
Right.
I have the Bucks 3.5 and the Bucks money line. Just throwing that out there. But a lock, I'll go with a lock. I'll give you a heads on the coin toss.
Oh shit! So there's always one of those guys in the friend group. I didn't think it was going to be Justin that bets the coin toss and just gives the sports book their money for no reason. He could have bet me how much. You don't got to tell us how much you bet, but if you bet $10 on this coin toss, you could have bet me. But I guess I get the rush of it. You want to fund DraftKings. You want to invest in their upside of it.
I'm a big supporter. I own their stock. I got to invest.
Do you have any analysis for why the people should be betting? I literally saw somebody. It was somebody that's actually. I don't know if one of you's put it in our group from Reddit or something, but somebody that was literally trying to say the weight of the head side on the Super Bowl coin is higher. Did you follow that online Reddit advice?
No, my advice was Marty Mush took tails, so I took heads. That was my advice. Okay, Marty from Barstool.
So you're fading the mush. That's fair. All right, Buddy Lewis. Before we get into the fun part, the props, anything on the game in general stand out? Do you actually have conviction on one side of the line or the total in this one? Do you have a bet placed on either of those? A lean? What you got, big boy?
No, I'm with Cameron on this one. It's like you can't bet against Tom Brady in a Super Bowl. And I guess, this season, Mahomes maybe hasn't been great against the spread, but I don't really want to bet against him either. So I don't have anything in the spread yet. I think if I get a gut feeling closer to game time, maybe. But I'm with Justin on heads. That's pretty much the only conviction I have.
All right, there we go. I might be losing my credibility already with the guests on the show betting on the coin toss, but Justin got it at -102, so it's basically
it's 2 cents to play.
He gave 2 cents to play. He tipped his bookie in DraftKings. But all right, cool. So let's get into. So I have like talking points so we can go through like first touchdown and things like that. But we can hit on those. So I think we can start there and then kind of get into props that stand out to you guys specifically. But from a first touchdown, anytime touchdown standpoint, I know that those are probably some of the most popular bets. Like I remember back when the Packers won the Super Bowl, a lot of people at my house had Jordy Nelson first touchdown as fans and just in general because he had some pretty long odds and he scored it and it was like pandemonium. Haven't hit one since. Didn't even bet on that. It was just in the room when that happened. So first touchdown prop, anytime scorer. The anytime scorer odds, they honestly don't seem great. But for first touchdown, I only placed one bet. I saw McCole Hardman was 17-1. That seemed kind of odd, especially with Sammy Watkins. They're saying now likely to play. So I took Sammy Watkins at 20-1, so plus 2,000. My analysis is basically this guy just runs routes. He ran 34 or more routes in 5 straight games before getting hurt in week 16. He plays on the field in their red zone packages, and he plays in a situation where he's normally in the slot. So it's just you're getting usage out of it, and also there's part of it that it's just a long touchdown. Like you're going to get what? I think it's plus 650 for Kelsey, plus 600 depending on where you look. So Watkins is the only thing I touched on first touchdown. Anytime the odds are pretty short. AB at plus 225 stood out to me. He's also good to go and playing. Did you guys have a bet on any of these? I think these are definitely the first touchdown, probably the most exciting part of the game from like a prop betting standpoint. Anything on that, we can go to Cameron.
Well, the classic look here is, everyone's thinking Mahomes because, last game they do that little option play on the goal line. It's almost like a read option where he scoots in. He's been running a lot of those. That's a popular bet. Obviously, you got Kelsey, who he's just a monster. I think anytime he's like -200 to score in the game, which is pretty crazy for a Super Bowl. But I do kind of like something sort of trickery. The Chiefs, they run Kelsey at the Wildcat package. Something, I think it's going to be someone up there in those 1,700, 1,800 odds. I don't know who it's going to be. Probably put like $5 on someone that really piques the interest. But I was joking around, but I really do also think one of the Bucks not main wide receivers, like a Scotty Miller, something like that, could catch a deep ball. Brady likes throwing him those deep passes. But I wouldn't take one of the star-studded names.
I think that's fair. Scotty Miller's at plus or 28-1 right now. He's pretty far down there. The other one that's interesting is DeMarcus Robinson because he's expected to play. He's ran 28 routes a week this season. He's at 30-1. I might actually place on that. I might like that more than the Watkins bet I have at 20-1. But yeah, it's like there's some guys that are in like the mid-teens, like a Gronk, a Darrell Williams, and Antonio Brown. That there's just not much value on that. So yeah, going to the bottom of the board is, I would say, just appealing to do. But I think I might add DeMarcus Robinson for first touchdown score. But Justin, anything from a first touchdown or anytime touchdown score? I'm referencing DraftKings right now. And also we got like almost 200 people, I think, across all platforms, over 200 people watching live right now. So shout out to all of you. If you have any question on a bet, if you want to just give advice on your bet, anything you want on the screen right now, we'll prop it up. So yeah, appreciate you being in here. But yeah, Justin, anything stand out from those props?
Not to me, no. I kind of liked Darrell Williams for an anytime score, just because I think he's going to get more work than CEH kind of down by the goal line. But I didn't take anything now.
That's fair. Yeah, it's interesting because Williams is cheaper, at least from like a DraftKings or FanDuel fantasy perspective. He's a lot cheaper than Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and they basically split it 50-50 last week, like snaps. So that's interesting to see, and that's built into the props. Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire right now is cheaper. Like you're only getting plus 150 to Williams, like plus 200 for a touchdown. So I think I would lean him over Clyde. Buddy, anything first touchdowns, and then we'll kick it right after first touchdown or anytime touchdown. We'll kick it right back to you just for if there's any prop bets that you have in already or anything that you want to shed light on, and we can go around the room with that one.
Yeah, that's tough. First touchdown, really anytime touchdown, just because, I feel like if it's going to be anybody, it'll be somebody like a Tyreek Hill who you're not going to get great odds on. So I'm with Justin. I kind of stayed away from this, but I think there's just, you're not going to get a ton of value out of anybody who I think will end up scoring a touchdown. Yeah,
that's honestly the case. Like out of everybody I've talked to, either through DMs or just like other people on shows, the anytime touchdown scores, they just suck. Like the odds are so bad right now. Like just to get anywhere to the 20-1 range, like even Le'Veon Bell is 6-1 for an anytime touchdown. Like that's just terrible odds for a guy who touches the ball like maybe a couple times in this game. So yeah, so I guess I'm going to add DeMarcus Robinson 30-1. I have Sammy Watkins 20-1 on those. I don't have anybody from an anytime standpoint. There's some interesting ones, like guys to get 2 or more touchdowns, but you can basically say that for anybody that's going to run routes or play today. I guess I can kick it, or we actually have something. This is actually pretty interesting. So Anthony Sherman on an inside pitch today. So Anthony Sherman, the fullback. Yeah. So I had somebody ask me about this and try and compare it to Kyle Juszczyk last year, which is like a totally different player. Like he's actually involved in the offense. I pulled this up yesterday. Anthony Sherman so far this season has 5 total touches. And this is not counting the postseason. So I don't know if he's had any in the postseason, but he had 4 carries and each of them were for less than 1 yard. And he had 1 reception so far this season. So obviously we know it's a long shot, but it's 100-1 for a first touchdown in the game for fullback Anthony Sherman if you're trying to get creative. But otherwise it's ass. It's 22-1 for any other time during the game. Like that's the highest number that you get for an anytime touchdown score. 100-1 on Anthony Sherman is the same as like LaShawn McCoy, Justin Watson, and a bunch of guys that probably don't even step on the field where Sherman's going to be on the field. So I'm not betting it, but it is maxed out 100-1. That's actually pretty funny. We had somebody ask about that the other day too. All right, cool. So I guess I'll go right back to Buddy here. I'll start to look at the questions if anything comes in. But from just a general prop standpoint, anywhere in the game, have you placed on any props yet? If you have, it could be cross sport. Just is there one that stands out or one that you want to start with that you bet on and we can bounce it around, or one you want to kind of just air out the room and chop it up with?
Yeah, the thing I'm huge on today is Jason Pierre-Paul. He is going up. I saw this on Twitter. I'm not sure the complete accuracy of it, but it brought me all the way in. He is facing the backup right tackle for the Chiefs, who was the right tackle for the Panthers and went up against Von Miller the year he won Super Bowl MVP.
Ooh.
That's true.
What do you think?
I like it.
Right, I know. And the Chiefs O-line in general is banged up, so they're going to have trouble. I've got JPP first sack is about plus 650. To record a sack at all, you can get plus odds. First INT would be plus 4,500, and then Super Bowl MVP at plus 7,000.
Oh my!
I think he's going to have a big game. He's been disrupting, and having a guy like Shaq Barrett and Vita Vea, having them be there to, kind of, they're going to have to deal with all 3 of them. It's going to be tough. I think JPP is a big game.
Yeah, I mean, I was just pulling it up right now. His MVP odds before you even said you bet him MVP, and I was going to say you should bet him MVP, but you got him early. He's already he's now down to 50-1. My man Buddy's sitting with the hot ticket right now. You should sell that ticket off for the margin. Damn. All right, so Jason Pierre-Paul, that makes sense. So like you saw it last week. Like there was no Bakhtiari for the Packers earlier this year when they faced the Bucs. He got hurt in that game. There's no Bakhtiari last week as he's been out now with his torn ACL. He got in practice. And they brought pressure. They brought the blitz. They bracketed Adams, and they were able to get to him. Jason Pierre-Paul was able to do really whatever he wanted last week. And if you think the same thing happens now with a gimpy Patrick Mahomes as well, if he needs to get surgery in the offseason on the turf toe. I like that. Yeah, I like it. And that's the thing. Like there's a 10-1 prop out there just on a defensive player to win MVP. But if you really want to like kind of buckle it down, it's probably a D lineman or it's probably a cornerback. So you can just kind of start to weed out some of these guys that you want nothing to do with, like a safety or something like that. So you can try and chop that number down. But I like that coming out firing right now and getting into the weeds. And I didn't even know that. I didn't even know. Look at that. We're bringing the value right there. All right, Cameron, what about you? So we got Jason Pierre-Paul. I might have to add the 50-1 just seems shorter now, but I might have to add that for an MVP. Well, if we talk about it on the show and I don't put $5 on 50-1 Jason Pierre-Paul MVP, I'm going to be kind of pissed. So I think I might add it right now. All righty, Cameron, what do you got from a prop standpoint? And can you show up? You got to open. I was on Clubhouse earlier today, and Mark Sanchez was in the room, and he has like 20 followers because he just started it, and he starts talking, and then I had to talk after him and like either ask him a question or just talk after him, and I was just like, this is terrible. Like this is what you have to follow up with that buddy pick right there, because that was fucking fire.
Right. Like mine are all, pretty close to, not close to even money. First and foremost, field goal to hit an upright or a crossbar or an extra point. Plus 400. I mean, who's not going to cheer for that? Who's not going to cheer for a double donk again? But I have Shaq Barrett, 0.5 sacks. So I'm not totally sure. So if he gets half a sack, like him and Vita Vea just smush Mahomes, that's a push then, correct?
Yeah, I would say it depends on your book, but if you're using like any of the big books, they're definitely going to push that.
And right now we've got Duncan Robinson minus 1.5 total points to Mahomes completions. And Robinson's not having a great game. He's got 6 right now. So you're gonna be rooting for Chad Henne season in this game today. Yeah, I mean,
you are gonna be rooting for that toe to get real chopped up.
To go further on that, you can get over 2.5 players to throw a pass, like plus 125.
I like that.
So either you're thinking Chad Henne or you're thinking, an end around, Philly special.
Scotty Miller, high school quarterback. Miller, high school quarterback.
The more you know. So I really, those are some fun ones. Anytime touchdown Mike Evans at even money seems like a decent value. Anytime they get in the red zone, Brady looks for that little slant. That'll be the main play, to be honest, for me today. But
yeah,
we need Duncan to pick it up. As the moral.
Yeah, Duncan Robinson.
Oh, he just made a three.
Yeah, you keep us on the live updates of Duncan Robinson. I was going to say he needs to only hit threes. That's like he's not going to move in from the 3-point line. So people that don't know, basketball player for the Miami Heat, basically came out of nowhere. So last year made his story in the NBA Finals. So we need him. What is it? You have 1.5 to Mahomes completions, right, on Robinson points. So we already got that one going. We got a live sweat already in here early on. I like that. All right, so we got before we go to Justin, we got Michael Bolin. He says he got a free $100 bet. The quote-unquote free that they're going to give you your credits back if you don't hit that. But we'll take that free bet. Where do I go with that? All right, so I assume that you got the free $100 bet. Like you're on the site already. You're not asking like where to go. You're asking what bet to be placing on that. So, I mean, I haven't gotten to like my quote-unquote best bets. I guess there's two sides of this. It's free. Do you want to just go all or nothing and just get something at high plus money? Or do you actually want to turn that like 100 maybe into like 70, 80, 90 bucks? I guess we can just get to it. Well, not to get to it, but to bury the lead or not to. Sammy Watkins is probably my favorite prop today. 36.5 over under receiving yards. I'm just projecting him to run 32 routes, which is his normal role. And it's a Super Bowl. So like somebody asked earlier, what's the status on Watkins and AB? AB's already ruled in, so is Brate. Watkins, they're saying, is expected to play. And if he's going to play, if he's not ruled out, I'm just saying he's going to play the whole game, because why are you limiting him in the last game of the year? Why would he want to be limited in the last game of the year? He's had about a month and a half to now recover from this injury, and he has all off season too. So I'm projecting him out to be full on. Over under 36.5 is my favorite bet. I got it at I think it's minus 106 was the juice on that, the price. Let me see right now. Minus 106. It might have changed by now. That's where I'm going. So if you want to tail that. But if you want to just a straight up plus money bet, yeah, I'd probably take something like the fun one is over under, but Cameron just said the 2.5 players to throw a pass in this game. It's just throw, right? Not complete, just attempt.
Yeah, just attempt.
Yeah, so I think that's fun. If you want a pure plus money one, buddy's Jason Pierre-Paul MVP. I think that like if you got the free money betting, you can just blow it. Like it depends on it really is specific to you, Mr. Michael. Like what is your goals with this? Is it to just try and get rich quick? Well, then put it on somebody for MVP that's a long odds guy. Or if it's just to try and make like $80 and you're happy with that. I like some of these specific player props like Watkins. Maybe Justin can fuel you here. But Justin, is there a specific prop outside of the all elusive minus 102, the heads prop that we got in there right now? Is there any other prop that right now you like a lot, you have placed or you're looking to place and want to bounce off ideas? You're on mute.
You're muted.
It's okay. It happens.
I earlier I had a $100 free bet from DraftKings as well, and I like you said, I tried to hit it big. I did a Jordan Spieth parlay to win with Scotty Miller over 20.5 yards,
Ooh.
plus 900. So I just went for that
Can you
home
give us
run.
an update? Is there a current update on Mr. Speether? He came into today leading, correct?
Yeah, tied, and he's down 1. So
Is it Xander in the lead?
yeah, Speed
All
go
right.
get the first goal, but
Yeah. All right. Speed shot what? 10 under yesterday?
Mhm.
Oh my God. All right. All righty. So that one you can't place right now, but
all right.
you can do the Scotty Miller under. I have the Scotty Miller over 20.5, but we can get into that. But what else are you gonna say? Is there anything else?
Oh yeah, the one I actually did take Tom Brady to throw 3+ touchdowns. It's plus 300. I thought that was kind of good value for that. They're gonna more than likely they're gonna be down at some point, so they're gonna be throwing the ball. And they don't run a whole lot at the goal line. Like they run all those quick slants, fades to Mike Evans. So I think 3+ touchdowns is in the book.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that, just because the plus money that you're getting on it. One higher total game, like there's the chance that you get the Rams and Patriots Super Bowl from the past, where it's so low scoring, but it just doesn't seem possible for a Chiefs game. Like unless there's something that happens to Mahomes, like you saw in that Browns game, it just doesn't seem possible that Tampa Bay's not going to have to keep up with them. Like when you have weapons like Tyreek and Kelsey, you can try and take one of them away, but once you try and take one of them away, you're letting the other one do whatever they want, and then you have Hardman and Watkins coming back. So yeah, I think the over 3.5. I saw it. It's bouncing around all throughout the week. Like the juice on that earlier this week, it was like Mahomes over 1.5 touchdowns. Like you can select it. I don't even know why people are betting on there. It was like minus 580, like over 1.5 touchdowns, the juice on it. And you could select like 2.5 or not. So, all right, I have, this is for Buddy right here. Where's this guy going? He said he loves seeing a Browns fan in the chat right now. Buddy, any closing thoughts on the Browns season? We'll put you on the spot here. Anything you'd like to say to the players, to speak for all Browns fans right now? Anything that you would like to say about this year's Browns season and give them, maybe they have hope already, but something to look forward to next season. Empower Mr. Nate, big old D in the chat right now.
Yeah, it was best Browns season of pretty much my entire life. So it was very fun to watch, if not incredibly nerve-wracking a lot of the time. Definitely something to be proud of. And, I mean, they've got a bright future ahead, barring any major fallbacks. But I think it's going to be, I think it's the start of something good there if Baker can kind of keep going. And that's really all it comes down to.
There you go. Buddy's got some cheerleaders in the chat as well. Go, Buddy, go. There you go. All right, so I'm going to move over to this one as we go to the quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers, just props in general. So we can start off with Mr. Michael Ralph. He has a question here. So he basically says, and this is actually, I would say somewhat polarizing. Like some of the shows I tune into or listen to, like this prop, Kelsey's been nailing his props all season long, like literally all season long, no matter what they set them at. Last week they had like an 8.5 over under prop, and he got it in like the first half. Like he was just absolutely beasting. So now he's at over under 8.5. I think I'll pull up the juice on this one right now. For his reception total, 8.5. I believe the under on or the over on this is actually plus money the last time that I checked. So I don't have a bet on this. It was kind of like a no bet for me. If anything, I lean the under. I saw it at 7.5 earlier in the week, and that seemed a little bit better. And then also the second part of it, do you like the fellas get on the Aaron Rodgers bonus? Yeah, I mean, we have a partnership with all the DFS sites where you get to play Aaron Rodgers score from any point in the season into your lineups today, but only if you are a subscriber to this channel, and only you get to do it for whenever, dating back to his entire career if you are a patron as well. So you get the bonus. You don't really get that, but you do get that bonus if you do it. So yeah, that's the Aaron Rodgers bonus. Yeah, they're in on it. But Travis Kelce right now over 8.5 on DraftKings. The over is plus money. It's plus 100. So basically nothing, plus 101 to be exact. So really nothing there. The under is minus 125. Do you guys have any stances on that? It's a pretty high number, 8.5, but it's also a situation where like Devin White, fast linebacker, but I mean, he gets thrown open so much, Kelce, by Mahomes. I'll kick it to Justin on this one.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the last game they played, Kelce I think he had 8 targets and he had 8 catches exactly. I know you don't base a lot on the previous games, but that last game, I want to talk about that for a second. The Bucks and Chiefs played was kind of a strange game. The Chiefs came out just firing, and then they didn't do anything the rest of the game. So I'm not sure what Tampa Bay switched that confused them, or if they just got complacent or anything. But I wouldn't expect that that same game style, game rhythm to happen. I think both teams are going to come out firing. I don't think the Bucks are going to come out sluggish, really. But for the Kelce prop, yeah, I mean, I actually talked to my friend about this earlier. He has the over. I kind of like the under. I think they're going to look to take him out completely, which isn't possible. But I think more towards the 5 or 6 catch radius. That's where he's going to end up. That's just my gut feeling.
Ooh, 5 or 6. You're going way under. Okay, yeah. So just more context, and I'll kick it a buddy. Last week, 13 catches on 15 targets, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. Matchup against Devin White. Devin White's been great, dealing with some injuries, but still a strong positive advantage according to Pro Football Focus of positive 69%. Regular season, Kelsey ended up being obviously leaders in so many departments, second behind Darren Waller with 145 targets, and that's without playing the final game, which is just absolutely nuts. And he runs the third most routes out of any tight end per dropback at 90%. So we know that he's the most historical tight end season probably ever this year. We know that he's fantastic. I kind of lean on the underside of this. Again, I don't have the bet. I had to lean in earlier in the week on the Friday show. I don't have a bet in on it, but I kind of see like that 8 flat. Like I'm playing Kelsey almost everywhere. Super draft, DraftKings from a fantasy perspective. And he could still have a big game with 7 catches, 90 yards, and a tutter too. So it's not like taking the under is almost hedging against that. It can still be in the same area. So yeah, I'm kind of leaning the under there, Mr. Michael Ralph. Any input quickly, buddy, and then I'll jump to Cam on it.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of with you. I think my thought is that he's kind of such a key player. I feel like this is the guy the Bucs are really going to try to shut down. And, I don't know that they have the people to do that, but I think, 8.5 is a lot. I think I'm with you. I think I'd stay with the under.
Yeah. What about you, Cam?
I will never bet against Travis Kelsey.
I like that.
I will. It's just, he could have a game. He could break double digits here again and, whatever. But is week 12 game, right, was when they played. That was when Tyreek Hill had like 200 yards in the first half, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, he had 200 yards in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
No, first quarter. Okay, yeah, even better. So, you got to think that the Bucs are going to not let that happen again, which that'd be a solid game plan for them. So I think maybe they'll try to throw a little bit more Hill's way over the top, and Kelsey will be open on those unders more often. It's just the man just broke every tight end record in the books. I'm not going to bet against him in the Super Bowl.
That's the thing. Like every single week he's beating these props and they keep raising them on him. And now you're getting plus money for taking a big Kelsey game. So that's why it's basically a no bet for me. Like I don't actually have any money behind this and I lean the under, but yeah, that's the thing. Like when you try and break this down, like X's and O's, Tampa Bay to win, if Mahomes stays healthy and there's not some just fluke interceptions and shit like that nonstop, like Tampa Bay to win just has to win in the shootout, because you can try and take away Tyreek and not let him do what he did last time and just roasted Carlton Davis like all game long for those 200 yards in the first quarter, 3 tuds in the game. Like you can try and take him away and bracket him over top when he's not in the slot, but then you're basically inviting Travis Kelsey to have 13 catches again and 100 and something yards, not even to mention, we have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, we have Sammy Watkins and McCole Hardman and all these guys. So yeah, I think it has to be a shootout. And if that's going to be the case, that's where these props start to become really close. So it's a high number. Good question. I think that the panel basically says, stay the fuck away from that bet, Mr. Michael Ralph. And I'll start looking for something else out there. Alrighty. So somebody says, who the fuck are these guys? What's up, Mr. A+? Yeah, these are just some fellows. I was walking outside and I was like, I'm kind of lonely. So I hopped them all up into my house and we're all live streaming right now. All right. So let's see what we got here. We can move into, so isn't that Nick Boyle guy? Look at, all right, we got the brother of Buddy, Mr. Matthew Lewis in the chat. He says, isn't that the Nick Boyle guy? Yes. So the guy in the UNC hoodie was the first ever guest on the show for the people that watch the DFS show. For some people, they'd be like, what the fuck's this guy talking about? But Nick Boyle, anytime touchdown scorer is what we had that game against the Chiefs Ravens early in the year on Monday Night Football. Nick Boyle comes through on the last drive of the game, pandemonium. We literally got Nick Boyle's followers to go from 2,000. Alaman's got 14,000 followers. He signs a new contract. All of that can be credited to Justin Hartman right here. All the positive vibes from Nick Boyle. All right, we can move it to the props department. And I want to ask a prop right now that every single person that's watching this game and wants to enjoy it, wants to as much as they can with their wives or whoever in the room with them, and they just want to be watching it, who wants to enjoy this game, eat and all that, they're going to be wanting to bet overs. So that's why there's going to be a lot of value on the unders everywhere. So my question is, right now you're getting a pretty high total. Patrick Mahomes over 325.5 yards. I have the over here. So I have the over here, and I'm actively trying to bet unders, but I have him projected for 343. So these teams it's going to be a shootout. Unless there's an injury, it's going to be tough, and everybody knows that. So it's you don't get too much value on these lines. It's minus 125. So any stances on the quarterback props? My only bet right now is Mahomes on the over. Any stances on that, Mr. Budwards, or any of these other quarterback props from a Brady? There's an over under 24.5 completions that I haven't bet, but it looks appealing for the over. Anything from the quarterbacks, and if there's nothing for quarterbacks, you can jump into any of the other props position wise.
Yeah, I don't really. These quarterback props are tough just because The totals are so high.
Yeah, they're so high.
Yeah, and like you said, you want to enjoy the game and watch the game, but it's just, it's one of those things where I feel like if, it turns into a blowout and you think you're on your way and then, they just kind of stop throwing the ball and things like that happen. So I'm kind of staying away from all those.
I think that's fair. Any stance on that, Cam? Quarterback props? If not, you can go to running back, wide receiver.
The hot take is Brady over 0.5 rushing yards.
Ooh. Okay, I can talk about this.
Take. So, like you, the classic sneak for Brady, right? That's his thing. But then, if you're cheering for the Bucs, you have the kneel downs at the end, which is going to completely negate. That would be an absolute roller coaster. If you get the sneak, you're amped, and then the kneels.
Yep.
So, I think that'd be kind of a fun one to do. Mahomes passing, 325 for any other quarterback except maybe a handful that's extremely high number, but
crazy.
I think you'd feel comfortable taking that. Not too much on the QBs from me, though.
I think that's fair. Yeah, there's only 2 of them, and you don't have much props in general. So we had a question that just came in, and it's specific to the quarterbacks. But Mr. Patrick Mahomes rushing touchdown. So the background is, they think he's limpy. The turf toe that he has, he's gonna have surgery on it. I can give my stance on this, and I'll bounce it to Justin afterwards. Justin, any stance on do you think that the injury is going to impact Patrick Mahomes' rushing ability in general in this game? And do you like anything from a quarterback rushing standpoint on Patrick Mahomes?
So for the first part of the question, the injury is going to limit him at all? I don't think so. He's been dealing with it for a couple of weeks now. I think he's pretty much can manage the pain. So I don't think it's going to limit him at all. But I wouldn't take the rush TD. I just don't see why he would rush it in unless the coverage just busts and he has a 10-yard, they're on the 10-yard line and he can just scamper in. But I think he always looks to throw first. So I wouldn't do that now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think from my standpoint on it, I think it's going to affect him, but at the same time, not. I don't know how you don't have turf toe and not be uncomfortable, but at the same time, you shoot him up. There's adrenaline in him, and if he has a 6-yard gain right in front of him for a touchdown, he's gonna run for it. If it hurts right after that, screw it, it's a Super Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
It's a big moment. So yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I'm fine to bet these rushing props. If you want to on Patrick Mahomes, if you feel conviction for whatever reason, I don't have them in just because I don't think the numbers look that great, but I wouldn't shy away from it due to the injury. All right, so we can move down just a little bit now. Anything from I guess I can touch on some bets that I really like from the rushing and receiving department. I mentioned earlier, Sammy Watkins over 36.5 receiving yards. I'm projecting him to be completely normal today. So I like that a lot. And then 2 other bets that I like from these categories that I've placed. I'll probably put my whole card on Twitter at some point today because I don't know why I bet so many already, but I have. But Fournette under 48.5 rushing yards. So basically, since Ronald Jones has come back in the postseason, each week Fournette's receiving yards, yeah, he's still there. He's catching. He's running routes. It's great. He's ran 47 routes to Jones' 10 the last 2 playoff games. But they're at a 44% workload on the ground for Jones, and Fournette's at 56%. So it's kind of balancing out. I'm giving them both 10.5 carries in this game. So, Fournette can still get over that if he has a decent game on the ground, but 48.5 seemed a little bit high. I have him at 43 right now. So I took the under there from the rushing department. And then another running back prop is Clyde Edwards-Helaire over 15.5 yards is where I got it. It was at minus 124. So there's a decent price on it. That's just basically from he ran 19 routes last week, or 2 weeks ago, being a little gimpy. You get 2 more weeks off if he runs 20, 24 routes and sees 4 or 5 targets. I think that's a pretty good number where he can get there on 1 target. So those are some of the props that I like from running backs and just in general receivers. Does anything else stand out? And I guess we can touch on the prop in terms of this one is interesting to me. So Godwin, 77.5 receiving yards. It's a pretty high number for Godwin. He's obviously a priority in this offense. In the slot, will be a really nice matchup for him too. Arguably the best matchup against L'Jarius Sneed. 99% of people probably don't know who that is watching this, but any chance on that, Cameron, on Godwin, any of the other wide receiver props, but Godwin 77.5. I know a lot of people have been asking me about that one. I think it's a pretty popular play this week, one way or the other. Do you have a stance on it?
So when I was looking, all the players, the amount of weapons on these 2 teams, it's not like they have their guys. You have Mike Evans, you have Tyreek Hill, but no one's going to be surprised if, someone comes out and Mecole Hardman has 94 yards today. It's just so hard. I don't think there's any other teams in the NFL that have the variety of weapons that these 2 teams have. So that just makes it so hard to take skill players. Godwin could have a monster game and everyone would be like, yeah, that makes sense. But at the same time, he could get lost in the offense. And next thing you know, that Brady's passing to Scotty Miller or Cameron Brate. So it's just the amount of options. Just make that 77. So it's a big number.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted to see where you're at on that because I bet the under on it, and it's one of those props that I don't feel good about. I just kind of like in general, there was better vig on the under, and it was kind of a coin flip to me, so I just took that side of it. I had him for like 74 yards, so it's not that far off. But yeah, I kind of see it as the same way. Just a lot of guys that can get involved. AB back as well. I don't think that's appropriately priced into this. Like AB props are low in my opinion, so I think that's going to kind of inflate some of these other, mainly Evans and Godwin's props, maybe a little bit of the tight ends. So I feel the same, buddy. Any stance on the Godwin 77.5 number or these? I mean, the other wide receiver numbers, AB on the opposite side of that with AB returning. He's at 40.5 over under. Godwin 77.5. Any stance on either of those?
I mean, I'm kind of with Cameron on the Godwin thing, but I think if you're getting better action on the under, I'd say just go with that because, like he said, with these three guys, you have, they could each end up with like 75 rushing yards. And, the other two are over, and he's under.
Right.
But, as far as other guys, I'd say I have not a passing yards, but Tyreek Hill rushing yards over 5.5. I feel like if he gets a rush, which I think they're going to do at least once in the game, I think it'll go for at least 6 yards.
Okay, I like that. So what was the exact number on that one?
The one I saw was 5.5.
Okay, I actually like that one a lot because I think he'll get probably at least one end around in this game.
Yeah.
Like they usually try and feed him, honestly, like once per half in this offense. Tyreek Hill is having an end around, so I do like that. Cameron put in the private chat on the back end a prop for the weekend, the halftime performer of this. Cameron, you want to share that prop with the people? I mean, the juice is where it is. Like it's the favorite by far, but this one almost seems like easy.
That's what I'm saying. So the weekend to change outfits over 0.5 times is minus 320. So you're taking, I mean, the juice there is unbelievable. But
yeah, so I'll cut in for anybody that doesn't know. For anybody that doesn't know, minus 320, just like general betting stuff, people probably knew. You have to bet $320 to win 100. So it's like a heavy favorite. So minus money means that they're a heavy favorite. You have to bet more to try and win more. So sorry, yeah, you can keep going with that.
No, I don't think there's ever been a Super Bowl performance where they've stayed in the same, clothing the same time. There's no way that he doesn't at least change his outfit once. I'm assuming he does multiple times, but there's a couple others, like if he mentions Biden, you get plus 300 odds. Mentioning Trump is plus 300 odds. Mentioning Canada, is he Canadian? Plus
yeah, he's from Toronto.
Oh, okay. Well, mentioning Canada.
Drake basically like shunned a bunch of light on him early on.
Oh, good. The more you know. And then you got a wardrobe malfunction at minus 3,000, but plus 1,000. So if you're getting a little Janet Jackson.
Wait, minus 3,000?
Yeah, well, like that it won't happen.
Oh, okay. I was like,
you
guys' favorite Slinky fall out on the halftime show?
Imagine. No. So this is really interesting. I was talking with my buddies. What if the weekend just wanted to troll the sports gambling world, and after his performance, he just did all of the props? Like he just says Biden, Trump, and then, wardrobe malfunction. You kind of can't really do that. But you know what I mean? Like, is that in his contract that he can't do these things or that he can?
Well, it would have to be very general. It'd have to be like, you cannot but how do you even put that in there? Like, they're not going to know what these props are. Like, when they're making the contract for him to do this, and it's probably a pretty standard contract. So I just don't think he gives a shit. Like the money that he makes, I don't think that he's going to be looking at this, but that's what I always think. Like anytime you see something very heavily juiced, it's probably stay away from it. But for stuff like this, that can be easily impacted, like for him to change his outfit, like somebody has to have an in on that. Like somebody on his crew has to know he's got like 3 outfits. And I mean, if they're betting on that, they'd have to put a big money to make it the favorite. But like, if that's leaking at all, it's going to lean towards that. Like we saw the video that was put on Twitter or Reddit where like, what was it? Who's singing like the national anthem for the length of it? It was like standing outside with the timer trying to record how long. Was it over or under on that one?
I don't know.
Do you know what I'm talking about from our group chat when they had like the national anthem being timed? I think it was like over. They were trying to time it from like yesterday. So rehearsals outside. The guy was trying to time it, put it on Twitter. Barstool Sportsbooks retweets it. It's just stuff like that can be actually influenced by it. I'm just always wondering how, like whatever side of it is favored, you just have to assume that somebody's pushing it that way that has some sort of intel on it.
Yeah. So a few years ago, it was the Eagles-Pats Super Bowl. I played football with a kid whose dad worked for Pink, who was singing the national anthem. He worked for a record label, and he was there when she was practicing the day before, and he timed it, and she was sick, and so he timed it, and it was like way under. So he texted his son and was like, tell everybody to take the under on the Super Bowl. We all did. It was like plus odds, and everybody won money.
Holy shit. Like that's the stuff that's definitely like, so like the other one, like Gatorade color, like, Yeah, like Gatorade color, like orange was the one last year for the Chiefs that was used. So like they're assuming like it's the favorite. So like they're assuming it'll be used again. They like Patrick Mahomes, same team basically for the most part, Andy Reid. So there's just stuff like that like you have other colors that are random as fuck, like blue being a favorite as well, like a co-favorite. Like how do people know what this shit? Like how is it a favorite unless people know it? Unless I guess you're pumping it up. But all right, yeah, we can move on to some other ones. So that's actually an interesting one. So the summary of that was minus 320 for the weekend to at least change his outfit over under a half a time. So at least change his outfit. The over on that for him to have at least 2 outfits is minus 320. All right, so we can move on. I think there's some questions in the chat. So some of these are pretty similar in terms of just like overall receiving yards. We've got Mr. Kyle Watkins in the chat. Kyle Watkins was the odd man out on this show. I forgot to try and wait, Kyle, Kyle, if you still got the link, try and join. I think we might be able to put this into a 5 or 6 man box if this is the same Kyle Watkins. He says favorite receptions props of the game. Yeah, so like over under receptions specifically, I have a lot of receiving yard stuff. I have rushing stuff. Like I have Ronald Jones over 8.5 attempts because I have him at 10.5 right now. But over under like receptions in general, I lean the unders on Tyreek Hill right now, but it was at minus 150, so I didn't bet it. But it was under 7.5 receptions. I like that. That might have come down at this point. That's the only thing like receptions wise that stands out. There's the Kelsey number that we saw over under 8.5. We're kind of all staying away. Cam was the only one that might have liked the over on that, but that's kind of where I'm at. But yeah, Kyle, try and join in. I can try and add you into this thing. Trying to see if there's anything else in the chat. We can move on to just in general MVP stuff. Right now, so I have a interesting point from the MVP standpoint. So there's like the general one that it's been out there a little bit, but I'm sure like all 250 or 300 people watching this don't know. So the Chiefs are, if you want to take them with the points, if you want to take them on the money line, you're not going to get the greatest like money line odds right now. So I'll pull them up. But if you want to take just Patrick Mahomes MVP, which since the year 2000, 13 MVPs have won, or 13 quarterbacks have won the MVP. And right now, if you wanted to take the Chiefs on the spread at -3, it's minus 113 on the VIG. So you have to bet $113 to win 100. But Patrick Mahomes MVP odds on a lot of spots right now are basically even money. Like it's minus 105. So what that means is if you think the Chiefs are going to win this game, you might as well just bet Patrick Mahomes to win MVP instead. You get a little bit of a better price, assuming that somebody else on the Chiefs doesn't win it. Unless he gets hurt. I really don't know how they gifted it to him almost last year. He had like 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. He came from behind, which was great, but that sounded like an MVP type performance. Nobody really stood out last year, so they just gave it to him. So that's like the one thing I would do instead. I don't have any interest in the spread other than the alternative spread of 7 to 12 to the Chiefs to win by. So Mahomes MVP as a replacement if you want to bet the spread. And you like the Chiefs side. Other than that, Antonio Brown 60 to 1. I did bet. I've got a bet on Mr. Antonio Brown 60 to 1. I just don't know how it's this long. So something was said in the chat about like his public facing, all this shit that goes on in this man's life that wouldn't be the best for the league, and like Roger Goodell and all these people that can pull some strings to give Antonio Brown the fucking MVP because it might not be the best character move for the league. And I get that. So I guess that's weighing against me, but that might be built into the line. But this is a guy who literally to close out the season, week 17, goes for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. And you've had in the past, Edelman had 140 yards, won the MVP over Brady. You had in the past, Deion Branch had 130 yards, won the MVP over Brady. So Brady's won 4 of these fucking things, but there has been receivers to win it for him that didn't have crazy good performances. It's kind of just the way that Brady didn't play as great. If he plays anywhere near like he did against the Packers and they win the game, they're going to have to give it to a defensive player or a receiver that does half decent. So Brown at 60 to 1, there's not much conviction on it. It's just that I think that number should probably be like 45 to 1. So I think there's some value in it. Do you guys, I know that earlier Buddy said, if for people tuning in, he got Jason Pierre-Paul against Eric Fisher's backup on the offensive line. He got him at plus 7,070 to 1. Justin, do you have an MVP favorite twist, bet, lean, anything that you got for MVP, best looking MVP out there today? What you got?
I don't have one though, but kind of going off of what you said with the Patrick, like if the Chiefs are going to win, they'll probably hand it to Patrick Mahomes. Since I'm pretty heavily invested in the Bucs winning, that might be the best hedge to my bet instead of taking, like if I want to just throw a small amount on it to kind of get some money back. Since if they win, like you said, he'll probably get it. But I don't normally do MVP. The only counter argument to a quarterback would be Edelman, I guess, in recent years. I don't know who else. Did Von Miller win it when they did it? I don't know who else would have. Like, and then Edelman only got it. Well, he had a great game, but that catch at the end of the game was nuts too, which helped.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean that's it. There was like no scoring in that game. Deion Branch was a little bit interesting, like some scores in there too. Cameron, any MVP leans?
Well, so if you're thinking about who's going to win it besides Mahomes on the Chiefs, what does Kelsey have to put up to, or Hill? Like, what do their numbers have to be where they're so absurd that Mahomes doesn't win it. Like Kelsey's got to go for like 12 or 13, 170 and 2, right? Like that's got to be where your baseline is for Kelsey MVP. But barring a freak defensive play like by the Honey Badger or like Daniel Sorensen, maybe like it's going to be Mahomes.
Yeah. So basically, like what like the wide receiver or tight end needs are like the most recent. There's been like 3 or 4 since the last 20 years to win MVP. Edelman's head catches 141 yards. You had in there Santonio Holmes 9 catches, 131 yards and a tutty. Hines Ward 5, 123 and a tutty, and Deion Branch 11 for 133. So you basically have to go somewhere around like $130, a score, and like 8 to 10 catches.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I think if just like a talking point, if they repeat what they did in the first game where Tyreek Hill has that game and Mahomes has, I don't know what Mahomes did that game overall, but do you think that's a situation obviously where Hill would get it?
If you go for like 280 and 3 scores, yeah, he's getting MVP.
Yeah, I think that's the only. You can go, Cam.
So Mahomes had 480 passing yards that game. So
yeah, they might be co. They might have to be co-MVPs.
Talking point. Last game, Travis Kelce 0 for 1 passing against the Bucks, Week 12.
Ooh.
So over 2.5 passing, 2 players to attempt to pass.
Was there anybody on Tampa, or is that the only guy? Still though.
No, that was that game. They threw the 4th down conversion to Mahomes where he tried to go up and make the Superman catch. But
Yeah.
It failed pretty miserably.
So yeah, that's the thing with that prop. I like that a lot because these guys are going to be aggressive. So like that kind of like floats into a couple other topics of aggressiveness. So like there's that prop, right? These trick plays, being aggressive. So you take the over, the 2.5 players to throw something. I think the field goals were 3.5. I don't have a take there, but I would lean the under. From a DFS standpoint, I'm not playing any kickers. These teams are so aggressive. Like if it's not the first quarter, I don't know when they're going to kick a field goal outside to win the game or at the end of the second quarter, first half, just with time expiring. Like if they're on the opponent's 35, 4th and 5, I think both teams are going for it in the third quarter. If it's the second quarter and they're on the goal line, like 4th and 3, it's not Matt LaFleur out there. I think these teams are going for it. Like you saw Brady pull off his whole special teams and throw a touchdown last game to Scotty Miller. You've seen Andy Reid with a backup quarterback in the playoffs go for it on 4th down to beat the Browns. Like this is just aggressive teams. So there's that part of it, like from betting standpoints where you can get an edge that I don't think's built into the line yet. The NFL in general is just going for it much more. And then right now, the over-unders for both halves are the same. They're at like 27.5 the last time I looked. Normally, like you'll see it be higher in the second half, but teams are more aggressive in the second half. So you're going to have teams going for it more often than in the first quarter. And just in general, they're going to be passing more if they're trailing in the third and fourth quarter. So I think the over, like if you don't want to bet the over in the game, which makes sense at this point, like it's probably a really firm number. I think the over in the second half is also probably something to point out that I might look at it. It's going to be like a -110 juice on it. It's just like a standard bet, but that's just like where that kind of comes into play too. Like from an aggressive standpoint, it's kind of in the similar neighborhood, but I think there's upside there. We had people asking about Sammy Watkins. Is he in or out? I guess he's still questionable, but they're saying that he's probably going to be playing in this game. Just trying to look at any other questions that are. Oh, look at this. So, I mean, my man Solomon Dwayne The Rock Johnson in the chat right now. He says that he worked the Super Bowl last year. So this is the first part of it. I worked halftime last year for the Super Bowl. He says some pieces are add-ons for the costumes, for the outfits. So he might change 3 to 4 times. Whew. So, I mean, that's the thing, though. Like when DraftKings puts out a prop or any sites put out a prop like that for the changes, and then like he adds like a fucking patch or like a medallion like to his jacket. I don't know if that's going to be classified as a change, but like add-ons, I almost wonder, like, does Adam just mean he puts a jacket on? Like that's got to be a change. Like if he's going to be taking on or putting on a jacket, I feel like that has to be an outfit change. So Solomon D. Johnson with the inside info that I don't know if we can trust. But gamble responsibly. Take that info as much as you want right now. Whenever there's not a picture in the chat, it's like the egg on Twitter. I'm a little bit skeptical, but if you're still in here, I guess I'll take your advice. Maybe we'll throw something on this. But right now, I don't got anything. So this is interesting too. Starboy plus 350, first song to be performed. So with the Weeknd's catalog, I feel like that might be like. I feel like that might be the closer, but I don't know. They usually come out heavy and they end heavy. So you're going to get like one of his most popular songs first and then to end it. So I'm going to literally just Google Weeknd's best songs and see what pops up here.
So I think it's got to be first or last.
Yeah.
Starboy?
Blinding Lights, I think, is first or last.
Well, he's got Can't Feel My Face. He's definitely going to perform. Like he's got to perform at least 4 or 5 songs in this, right? You would think?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's doing it like outside of the stadium, right? Because of COVID and everything. Like he's not in the stadium
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm not sure how they're doing it
Is
yet.
that going to affect it, you think?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea what that means for any of this, but it's a minor detail.
Yeah, so Starboy plus 350. I guess I don't have the other odds up for his other stuff, but I would assume that that's the first or last song if both of them are plus money, if it has a last song option. But I mean, yeah, you have Blinding Lights. I would assume that you're going to be getting Can't Feel My Face. That might be the 3 because some of his other songs are pretty tough to like Rolling Stone, The Hills. Like there's some that he probably does The Hills, like honestly, and that type of. If there was fans, well, I guess there's some fans. There's a bunch of cardboard cutouts, but those are like the interesting, funny ones. Like there's the Fat Man TD prop. You can get you don't even have to pick a specific player. You just have to pick the offensive or defensive line for a Fat Man TD. And like, it just counts even if it's like Chris Jones, just like, I mean, I guess he's relatively big, but it's just like Chris Jones plus 800 for any defensive score, plus 2,000 for the offensive line. There's like specialty props like that. I didn't take either of them. Do you have any stances on the offensive or defensive line? Offensive line would be pretty wild. I guess I'll take it to Justin.
I don't personally. If I had to pick a team that would, I'd say the Chiefs would be the ones to throw it to the offensive line for a touchdown. But I don't have any of that now.
Yeah, that kind of feeds off of like what Buddy was saying earlier about just the pressure in general in the game. Alrighty, so that's basically all the props I got. Like I have like 3 quote unquote best bets in terms of like that going through. I felt like the best on. It was Watkins over 36.5 yards at minus 106 juice. Clyde receiving 15.5 receiving yards at minus 124. And then Fournette under 48.5 rushing yards at minus 118. I'll kick it around to kind of just recap kind of the bets we already talked about. You could add anything else in, but I'll kick it back around just to recap it and close it out. I'll start with Buddy for the bets. You can say the ones that you said earlier, just the bets that you have placed right now that you're most convicted towards and that you like a lot.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think Jason Pierre-Paul, I bet pretty much every prop he has, and I think he's either going to have – I think he could have a huge night. Like I said, he's going up against Eric Fisher's backup, and that whole line in general is just, not at full strength. And, with the guys that they have to handle, it's going to be tough. And JPP has kind of been the one to take advantage of, they kind of pick up Shaq Barrett more than they're picking up JPP in terms of a double team or what have you. I know I said I like the Tyreek Hill over 5.5 rushing yards. That's still one of my favorites. And if I had to pick another one, I think one of the most electric ones to bet on would probably have to be a score in the first minute. I mean, these teams are both really explosive, and they take shots deep. I wouldn't put it past them to take one early, or just a kick return, quite frankly. But you're going to get really, really, really good odds on it, and you'll be on your toes for the first minute of the game. So,
yeah, I like that. That kind of reminds me like that style of a prop. I saw one out there and I can't find it now. It was like on just a random ass book. It was the first touchdown to be between either team between the number of 10 to 20. And they had like other ranges too. So like you're not getting Kelsey in that, but you're getting like every fucking wide receiver basically in that. You might get the quarterbacks rushing in that too. So and the number on that was basically the same as like it was either between 10 and 20 or any other number. So it was basically like they were almost even money or similar odds on both of them. That one looked pretty good just from a standpoint of these teams pass a ton. They rarely run it. Bit down in the red zone, you're just not getting the tight ends and running backs or defensive players. But that one kind of reminds me of that. All right, Justin, finalizing it up, your favorite Super Bowl bets, ones that you don't even have to bet yet. You might be adding them after this show, or you already got in the chamber. What you got?
Well, one I wanted to kind of talk to you about, CEH under rushing yards. I don't know what you have them projected at for carries, but DraftKings has it at 31.5. I like the under. Number one, it's the Bucs defense against the rush. As we all know, they're very good. And the Chiefs just don't run the ball a lot, so I like the under, but I'm not sure what you're projecting them at for attempts. Or anything. Yeah.
So I currently have him. Everything that I have would lean towards the over, but like not looking at the like analytics side of it, I don't believe in that too much, so I just don't want to bet it. So right now I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire for 36. Rushing or like 36.8 rushing yards. The prop is like 30.5 somewhere. It's just not enough for me to bet it. I have him at 10 rushing attempts. I think the prop there is like pretty close to that, like 8.5, depending on where you look. So yeah, for me, it's just a no bet. But yeah, like my brain says to take all the unders. Everything like number wise that I'm looking at says take the overs. He's had 2 more weeks to rest. He played 32 snaps to Williams 30 snaps. That was without Le'Veon Bell though. If Bell was to play in this one, so we don't know how that impacts it. I do think that if there was props to bet on him, it's in the passing game because he came back and almost had his full-time role in the passing game last time. Now he's had 2 more weeks. So I do have that over 15.5 for receiving game. But yeah, it's just kind of like, yeah, it looks like a good prop either way. Like there's not enough there that I would want to touch it. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
Yeah. Any final thoughts for you for the Super Bowl today? You're gonna enjoy the day, big sir. You're gonna get off your toilet bowl right now in the colonoscopy.
Yeah, I'll enjoy it. No thoughts in general. I mean, Bucks 3.5 is what I'm cheering for, so that's where I'm at.
All right, there we go. That's good. All right, so Mr. Cameron Dean, finalizing with you right now. Take us out, sir. Your favorite bets today. Anything else that you want to say or bring up before we bounce on out of here?
Well, buddy, the opening kickoff for touchdown is plus 4,900. So if you really want to get into an electric,
There we go.
I actually have it not to be a touchback, plus 185. But so real quick with the aggressiveness that we're talking, the longest score of the game to be a touchdown or a field goal. Touchdowns minus 120. Butker's got a massive leg on him, right? So the way that loses is Butker kicks a 55-yarder with 2 seconds left before halftime or whatever. But with the big playability of both these teams, I kind of like that play. And then just to touch on one more thing. So our book has 17.5 as the first touchdown scorer number-wise. So if you're going over that, right, or under that, you got to think about you're getting most of the skill players for the Chiefs minus Kelsey, right?
Yep.
And I mean, I think they
What was the exact number?
17.5 for the player number to score the first touchdown.
Yeah, I mean it's like the running backs and Kelsey.
Okay, so I mean that's basically you get Mahomes and all of his wide receivers. I'll take that all day. So those are the final two plays.
Yeah, that's one that I like. There was like a prop, like I was saying, similar to that for the whole game because you get Tyreek, you get Harmon, like you're saying, all the receivers. You get Mahomes himself. What the fuck's Mahomes' numbers? Why can't I think of it right now?
15.
It's 15, yeah. So you get that, and then you get Watkins at 14. Watkins is the one that I like with him back because he's in the red zone on red zone packages a lot. Robinson's number 11, so you get every single receiver there. You're basically just fading the Travis Kelce touchdown at that point, which I like because you're getting like 5 guys to 1 at that point with decent odds on it. So, alrighty, that's where I'm at. I already said my best bets like a couple seconds ago. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you to the fellas coming on. We'll probably have to do this for some other stuff. Maybe we'll get together for draft night or talking the draft when that comes for NFL and some other stuff. We'll figure it out. But thank you to everybody who tuned in. The Super Bowl starts in about 3 hours, so I got to go get my ass washed. Not literally, but I got to get myself, well, maybe literally too. I got to get myself washed. I got to go get some food at the store, head over, watch this game with my girlfriend and some friends. So appreciate everybody tuning in, like, subscribe, do all those things. I'll probably put out like all the bets, the prop bets that I've already placed for like the one person in this chat that's probably like fiending to tail me right now on Twitter at SalVetchaDFS. Thank you. I probably should have told you about all these people's Twitters, but I'll put them in the description of this for like the 0 people that watch it afterwards. But thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow with some NBA stuff and PGA. Now with no NFL, we're going to be getting a lot more content in for PGA and also just a lot more content in for NFL offseason. New content formats coming. New studio slowly being built. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. See you on the next one. Enjoy the day and stay safe out there, party people.